Welcome to Stargate SG1 for the first time, still not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Aiken, and I'm watching Stargate SG1 for the very first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm watching Stargate SG1 for the 47th time, but I'm watching for the first time the messages. I'm seeking them out, the sci-fi messages, the Star Trek-esque messages, the Babylon 5-esque messages that exist within this series.
All right, so we're watching The Gamekeeper this week. And when I predicted last week what this is going to be about, I thought it was going to be the Move Along Home episode for Stargate. Basically, SG1's going to end up in a game, and Dwight Schultz, because I know that, is going to be like the clown game master guy in the game, and the stakes are going to be high. I'm dying to find out what it's actually about, so why don't you tell us about The Gamekeeper?
You are a good guesser, Jeff. The Gamekeeper.
I haven't gotten a single one. I haven't gotten any of them right, even like remotely. So thank you, but no.
You know, honestly, that's a thing my dad always used to say to me, like at Christmas time or whatever. It never mattered what I guessed was like in the Christmas tree, like underneath the Christmas tree. Never mattered. It was just you're a good guesser.
It took me like 2 episodes to realize. I'm like, oh wow, I guess they said I'm a good guesser. I'm probably pretty. Oh yeah, I'm not close at all. And I'm okay, he's funny, haha.
But it's not even like the you suck at this game.
Exactly.
It's the nope. This is just a standard answer that I'm throwing out there. You know. So anyway, Jeff, this is episode 4, season 2, The Gamekeeper. Original air date July 17th, 1998, just 1 week after the last episode. This story is by Jonathan Glassner and Brad Wright. They are the show creators.
Yep.
So when you get an episode that is brought to you by the show creators, you expect it to come with a little bit of gravitas to it.
Probably going to be a big deal.
I'll say no more at this point. This episode is directed by Martin Wood, so keep an eye out for that cameo that you still have no idea what he looks like.
Yeah. He's not the doctor that got choked. I know that. So
no. I did not see him in that episode because his last episode was in the line of duty. I did not see him, but frankly, I forgot to look for him.
Fair.
There are places where he starts becoming incredibly obvious. Have I told you about one of the reasons why he's so obvious? Okay, we'll get there. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but we'll get there because it's hilarious. It becomes like a huge inside joke within the show. Anyway, Jeff, I mentioned to you last week, I went ahead and spoiled it for you, and I don't care because I think it's just amazing. The big Star Trek guest crossover is Dwight Schultz. This puts us up to, I think, 3 at this point.
Yeah, we had Armin Shimmerman.
Yeah,
we got Jellicoe, and now we got Dwight Schultz. Ronnie Cox, and then Dwight Schultz.
Yeah. So
then we've had a couple that have done like guest star
little
or support little
there.
Things.
We'll call this the third major actor crossover that we have there. And I really wish that I could get good like Babylon 5 crossover. Here's a Babylon 5 crossover as well. We get like double points for Dwight Schultz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, with that, why don't we go ahead and jump into this episode? If you guys are joining us for the first time, welcome so much. Here's how this works. Jeff and I are going to go watch this episode right now. We're going to stop. We're going to go watch this video. If you are joining us on YouTube, you'll catch the reaction video to that. If you're on Patreon, you'll get the full unedited version of that. And if you guys want to check that out, you can head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Babylon5 first.
Or whatever the link is. It's down in the show notes.
Keep an eye on those links. Well,
at the time that we're recording.
Even that one, though, should still forward.
Should.
Theoretically.
Just at the time we're recording this, we're talking about a rebrand. So just
we got the universe is expanding. We got to start incorporating the whole thing. So
exactly. If you're listening to the audio version of this on one of the podcasting apps, you're about to jump into the future. You're not going to get to watch the episode with us, but as soon as we come back, you're going to get my for the first time reactions, and you'll hear about any of the sci-fi messages that Brent might have found in this episode. Brent, let's hit play.
Let's do it.
Structure familiar at all?
It does not appear to be of old origin.
It looks pretty advanced.
It's a possible new source of information and technology.
Is it Las Vegas?
Maybe even an ally against the Goa'uld.
No, I don't see that too often.
It's a great shot of the Stargate. It doesn't look like rubber at all.
Yeah, but where there's a garden, there's snakes, flowers.
Or poppies. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Daniel has allergies.
Way too many flowers.
You know, I don't think we talked about it in the last episode. I loved how when they were down in the prison, Jack like takes Daniel's glasses off of him and goes, just trust me on this. Just keep these away. Just trust me.
You can't show any weakness. That's a cool shot right there of O'Neill.
Oh, yeah.
Sunglasses. They're in the wonderful world of Oz. Porg regeneration
I like what they've
alcoves.
done with the place.
I'm not so
That's a
sure
good
I like what
comparison,
the
Jeff.
place has done to them.
Poke him. Poke him.
Right. So flowers aren't just there for decoration. Daniel mentioned them. They're
Human.
very conspicuously
breathe it.
placed.
All right. Does anyone have any idea what these chambers might be?
Seems like a
Some
chamber
kind
full of
medical
secrets.
device, maybe? Suspended animation of some kind?
It's a biodome. Assimilate this.
Look at those computer graphics right there, Jeff.
Go to sleep. They just jacked into the game.
You're a good guesser, Jeff.
That's counting. It's like it's gonna be the first time
You might have got one, Jeff. You might have got one. Now, what are you gonna do if they have like a little rhyme and a little scotch thing they got to do?
Then we need to end the run. Like I will have peaked at that point.
You're never gonna get any better than that right there. We're done. The show is at its zenith at that point.
Nothing going on. So we're about a year out from when The Matrix came out. So this idea of jacking into something, you know what I mean? Like this definitely has Matrix vibes with the way it looks, but it predates it. So,
But this would be, we're talking about that as a society at this point.
yes.
You know?
What is this
Here you
place?
go.
I don't know.
Why do we have these level 1 weapons?
It appears to be Earth.
They've Mr. Spocked Teal'c the hat right there.
We were exploring PJ-7989. We entered into a large dome facility and endured some form of bodily attack.
The cutscene that's going to give them their mission. Oh! Look at that, it's Kowalski.
That's not for
Walsh?
radio, though.
No.
John?
It's Colonel. You can lower your weapon, Captain.
Why are you acting so spooked, Jack? Maybe
You did.
because I am. You're both supposed to be dead.
Look, the intel on this one is good. They keep wars here during the day, take them underground at night. Our bird confirmed on his last flyover, no snipers. It's only 2 guards inside. It's a piece of cake. This ain't the one that you and me die on.
As a matter of fact, this is the one you die on.
So he's back in a mission he ran before when he was a captain in 02.
No. Because I'm either dreaming or hallucinating.
So shoot me. I said shoot me, not hit me.
That's one of the worst
that real enough for you, Jack?
punches I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Not quite Stormtrooper bad, but
Right,
you
how
know.
do you explain him? Does he look like a member of this team?
Oh, whoa, whoa!
I forgot about the hair. I forgot about it.
Has been on this team longer than you have.
I need to see that hair again. That was pretty epic.
There it is.
Look at that.
He can comb that stuff, man.
Well, he had a stocking cap on.
Yeah.
He looks like a school teacher, like that hard-ass school teacher
What
that
the
like
hell's
gets all the
going
kids motivated. I'm curious how it went bad. Like, are there more than 2 guards? Is there something that Jack could say right now that would make things go differently?
Right.
Let's not make the same mistake twice.
What the hell are you talking about?
Sniper on the roof.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Yep. Still went down.
So much for satellite recon. Hey, Jack. Take care of Barbara for me, man.
Wonder if this is one of those, like, no matter how you try to change a thing, the same outcomes happen. Keanu Reeves movie.
What movie is that?
I've been here many times.
Oh, is he a kid? Oh, no. He's leading a tour.
I'm sorry, this area isn't open to the public.
She just goes, okay, I guess I'll just walk away.
I told you can't be here, but you're still
You pushed
okay.
my hand
Daniel,
away,
what's going on?
so
You seem very confident.
No, this can't be real. They're my parents.
A little bit towards the back. Careful.
No!
It falls on him.
More level, Jake.
Okay.
Don't be under it.
Just bring it down.
Was he there as a kid? That's why he's got the hoodie, because he's wearing the hoodie when he was a kid. Oh. They're basically on a ketamine trip right now, reliving their trauma and trying to rewrite the story. This is the part, Jeff, where you just get up and walk the other direction.
right.
Just walk away. See what happens. Play the Bill Murray Scrooged thing. Angels of Death.
Come on, John.
Take care of Barbara for me. It's gonna be the same every time.
Late recon.
You must stop arguing and proceed with the mission.
There's your
Allow
boy.
me to introduce myself.
No.
I am the Keeper.
Yep.
Keeper of what?
The Keeper of all that is around you. All that is and all that might be.
He looks great. Like, that's a great look. The makeup
does,
and
right?
everything, and his face,
Yeah.
like, looks
Why
good.
do you wish us to proceed with this mission?
Because it is that which you have always wanted.
You've got to be kidding me.
I grant your wishes.
This was the most blown operation I've ever been involved with. What makes you think I want to watch my friends be killed over and over again?
You have always wished to do it again, in order to do it differently. But there are so many fantastic variations that you could try. Perhaps this time, you could try a different route.
He looks almost like, that's a really good idea. He's not caught up in, like, is this real, is it not? He's just like, we have a military strategy that we need to put into place.
Sit down, Teok.
Sometimes the best choice is not to choose.
Excuse me. Listen to me. You have to come out of there.
Danny, go back outside.
Danny. No, you look.
They just
You have to
hit
come
him
out
right
right
into
now
trauma.
because I hurt myself.
Could you imagine being a little kid and watching that happen to your parents?
You have taken on the role of Daniel Jackson as a child in this simulation.
You know, I used to replay this over and over in my mind, trying to think if there was anything I could have done to make a difference.
Okay, so maybe that's the point. Here's your chance.
Is it not wonderful? Now
Whoa!
you get the chance.
Wow. I was the annoying lady the whole time.
I beg your pardon?
The chance?
The chance to relive your momentous event. To try the plethora of variations that have been weighing on your mind. To finally see if you can make a difference. Why, I am the Keeper, of course.
The keeper of.
Duh.
The Keeper of all that is, was, and will be in this place.
Okay, where exactly are we?
I believe
Brett the
you call this
Hitman
the
Hart?
New York Museum of Art.
I love, like, he is young. Like, his face melts. Like, he is little Danny. Like, it's great
Danny
acting.
Jackson, you stop this right now! Jake, give me a hand here, please.
No.
Jake, come here and whip my son for me.
Careful, more level, bring it in.
You talk about trauma.
Yep.
Damn you, stop this game now!
And I think, like, there's a thought that you have of, how can he not understand this is fake, right? And dissociate himself and just be able to do the stuff? Well, the answer is, that's not how trauma works. Your brain, and to the Keeper's point, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's really happening and what it's processing in that moment. So when you have a flashback to a traumatic moment, to your brain, that's happening. So as intelligent, as aware as Daniel is, he's so deep in this seated trauma in him, logic doesn't matter. It doesn't work. His cognitive functions don't apply.
You would allow your parents to suffer this awful death.
They're gonna do it whether I
Your
try or
game.
not. When you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Here's your Rush bingo card.
You are indeed an obstinate race.
With all due respect to you fine folks, I don't give a damn about residents. I just want to get us out of here.
It is I.
He's very
am sorry,
one-tracked,
but
isn't
I
he?
am not
Yeah.
able to
That's kind of a
accommodate your
character
request.
trait.
I am sure you will be able to enjoy the many adventures that you will have here. The world outside is uninhabitable. It has been poisoned and desecrated.
You are mistaken. Your planet is a fertile garden world.
You are mistaken, my alien
He's like,
friend.
shut your mouth. I have
Our
a good
planet
thing
was
going here. You're gonna
destroyed
screw it
by
up.
a chemical disaster 1,022 years ago. We were victims of our own technology advancing faster than we could control it. At that time, the few of us who were left placed our physical bodies in suspended animation.
Good news. Your planet seems to have regenerated itself.
What do you say, guys? You want to get out of
That
here?
man is lying to you folks. He's got you imprisoned in your own...
But his answer was to
That's
take
fair.
the people away and stop him from talking.
Send them to where they can't hear the
Silence
truth.
him.
Very well. You weren't wanted here anymore anyway.
But now the question is,
We're out.
are they really there, or did he just put them in another version of the
That
simulation?
seems a little too easy.
Yes, it did. Let's go home.
Not gonna question that.
Everything that's happening now can be a part of the
They all have
simulation.
small puncture wounds in their
All in their
temples,
memories, or all
spinal
people.
cords.
The only way to gain more information would be to venture back into the artificial world of P7J989.
Then that's exactly what I want you to do.
I'm to sound like a smartass.
I love his self-awareness. You crap.
Folks, I don't need to tell you how valuable a resource this planet could be for us. Okay, I'll tell you what. If you don't come out in 1 week, I'll send in SG2 to pull you.
It's been
Besides,
1 week
what's so
since you
bad
looked
about
at
being
me.
in? Who knows, Colonel? Maybe you could even see your son.
Wow.
Dr. Jackson, perhaps you could visit the ancient worlds you've always wanted. You can go anywhere your memories or imaginations want to go.
Tilk's like, you're pushing and selling this a little too hard. You seem pretty famous, Amos.
Let's just have a little look here, shall we?
What are you talking about?
We're still on P7J989.
Still in the
This
simulation.
is just a new game brought to you by our good friend, the Keeper.
You are way out of line, Colonel.
He patted his
Could be
bald
having a
head.
nervous reaction to the machines. We should head back to the infirmary and run some tests.
Put them in isolation where they can speak to no one.
I like how they're playing this enough that you question, like, maybe this is the real thing going on and they're crazy. But I mean, obviously, no. This is they're still in.
We're still on PJ7989.
And that's how we got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
It's a fake
Exactly.
environment.
Don't think about that, Ray. Take it out of your head.
Really so bad?
Hello.
Tell us what you began to tell us before. About what it is like outside. Everything is not dead.
No, quite the opposite. Everything is blooming.
Well,
If you have bad allergies, it is.
the Keeper lies.
How can we trust these creatures above the Keeper who has cared for us for so long?
Tell you what,
It's a real dilemma.
come with us. We'll show you.
Yeah, because they can create the memory, right? They got it. They come to me to this thing. So they go through the Stargate here. They go through the mechanics to make it look like it, right?
Where are we
Here
going?
we are. This is your world.
Back through the gate to show them what their planet looks like in our memories. Before the virtual reality.
It's another situation where they're trying to figure out the unwritten, unspoken rules to be able to play the game. Jack seems to be really good at that.
Think we're really out this time?
And now we're gonna go in,
I wanted to get him out because the people were starting to listen.
right?
You have ruined everything, poisoned their minds. The damage is done.
They're going to be pretty upset with you, sir. He's probably kind of wait a little bit, maybe. That's cool, like having it far off like that. That's a really cool scene.
Yeah. That's a really far away DHD though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have given us a whole new world of beauty and future experiences.
This is real this time, isn't it?
Do not pull that! You are ruining the garden! I told you they would ruin everything. First, the garden. Next, the entire planet!
You're ruining the garden.
You're ruining this episode. Oh, I said that. I need a moment to collect myself. I'm gonna actually just pick up from here. I need a moment because I don't know if it's just me. It might just be me, but I feel like for at least a couple of weeks now, Stargate is not capable of ending an episode well. What a cool idea. I'm enjoying this show, right? I have this note on here that just says, what an incredible exploration of trauma. This is like being in a ketamine or an MDMA therapy thing. Like this is a great exploration of a thing. No, we're going to take a guy who is an amazing actor at playing crazy. And I know crazy is not a word a lot of people like to hear, but give me one that describes Dwight. Yeah, give me one that describes Dwight Schultz better than that. So he plays crazy better than anybody, and they give him this, right? And I said during the episode, I'll say here, I loved his look. Really, really played to Dwight Schultz's just his physicality and everything really well. Voice was ridiculous. It's a different kind of crazy, not one well suited for him. And then later on, my final note, wow, he went from kind of ridiculous to very annoying immediately. We get no explanation. So they blew up their planet 1,022 years ago. They poisoned it and everything died. My assumption was that these are the same people and they've been living in the Matrix for a while with him kind of keeping him alive. I thought he might have been like the program that was put in to maintain everything.
Yeah.
But nope, he's actually alive up on the surface, which, is he 1,000 years? I don't know, because they didn't tell us. I don't know why he kept them there, other than he didn't want them to destroy things. So why didn't he just let them die? Oh, maybe because they were his friends and he wanted to hold on. But I don't know that. Like, just, there's this weird chorus of people in black shrouds that are watching and they're bored because they've been watching the same movies for 1,000 years. And then, like, it's just over. I'm disappointed, man. Like, here's some good. I made an early note that said,
I have thoughts on that, Jeff.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I think you're disappointed because the show set you up to go one way and then turned out it was actually about something different, and you were in with where it was going. And it turned out that it was this other thing, and maybe it was even lesser than what, like, because you said you thought this was a cool exploration of trauma, when actually this episode was about whatever I'm going to talk about, my Chevron seal. So I'm curious if that's it. And I just bring that up because I know I have gotten some flack. Jeff, you have gotten some flack. Matt got some flack back on Beam Me Up when he was doing his first watch of Star Trek stuff. When you don't know what's coming or where things are going, it is natural to sit there and go, okay, wait, what is this show trying to do? What's it trying to tell me? Where are we going with it? What's happening? I'm in. Oh, this is not at all what it is. But when you have time to sit back and think about it, ingest it, come back to it, you go, actually, that's actually a really cool idea, you know? And I can appreciate that. And now, you don't like what it's saying? Because it's actually really cool.
Don't you understand world building? You're doing this wrong.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, can't you? And like, I'm sitting over here going, Jeff, are you not getting it? Do you not understand?
Like, I don't. But you are
no,
right.
you don't, because it's your first time.
Exactly. But
you haven't had
right.
a chance to go back and revisit it yet.
But you're totally right. I thought it was going a direction, and literally in the last 4 minutes of the episode, boop, it goes a different direction. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the subverted expectation. What I'm not okay with, I'm just going to dig deeper, is when that subverted expectation is for something lesser and much more lame than the thing I thought it was. Like, it went from, I can
agree with that, Jeff.
It's like, this is, even if I get out of the trauma thing and I just say, this is a guy who is trying to keep the people alive that are important to him. That's a cool thing to look at.
Right.
He needs to keep, or maybe he has them in there. He needs their psychic energy or whatever to keep his body alive because he's still actually on the planet. Oh, that's a cool, you can move it that way. But when they just go to, I don't want you to pick the flowers. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really? That,
well, because it's his, he's worked so hard to rebuild this planet.
I don't know that.
And they're going to F it up again.
What I know is he was in this simulation and the planet regenerated, just like Sam said. Hey, good news, your planet regenerated, which is a thing I understand planets do. All I know is this whole time for 1,000 years, he's been trying to keep these people alive and somehow entertain them. He's basically the architect from The Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah.
Almost as annoying to listen to.
And you got to have entertainment to keep these people going so they can give you what you need.
It's like Agent Smith said in the first Matrix. He's like, we made a utopia for you.
Yeah.
We made the perfect simulation and it didn't work. You died because you need conflict. You need these things. So, dude, Keeper realized, no, you need entertainment. You need distraction. I'm going to provide that for you to keep you going for what? I don't know. So, I mean, what I heard you say without saying is this is an episode that's important to the fandom, and I just crapped all over it. But to reiterate what you just said, there will be a time that this pays off in some way, and I'm like, oh my God, that episode was amazing. I can't believe I didn't see this. But right now, in episode 4 of the second season. I'm jumping way ahead here. I'm arguing which one of these.
I just want to say, Jeff, I said neither of those things.
I'm just saying that's what I heard you say.
Yes. So let me say it a little louder. I did not say either of those things.
That's correct.
In fact, I can tell you, in all my conversations with people about Stargate, I don't think a single time I've ever discussed this episode.
Okay.
And this show is fairly self-referential, so there will be times when they reference the events of this episode.
Yeah.
But not to the point that like you would call it a sequel to this episode.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they'll, yeah. But I, sitting here watching this now for the messages and actually digging it out, I'm going, oh, that's kind of neat. Oh,
I can definitely see, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts on that, because I could see that in this episode. Like there's definitely some, and I first saw it on this, there's an exploration of trauma and what is my fault and what isn't my fault and things like that. There's a lot of really great, almost philosophical stuff to dive into for the first 70% of this episode. And then it goes into just more like sci-fi plot stuff, like the whole ruse where they're like, okay, I'm going to let you go. And, and they're doing this stuff, but I mean, it was obvious right away they were still in the simulation, but that was fun. I liked how they did that. I made the note here that Hammond as the keeper is great. Like he's yelling and he's just getting all puffed up, and that had to be so fun, right?
Well,
and
he has this slow transition to acting the way Dwight Schultz acts.
Yes,
like
so
as Don S. Davis, the actor, that had to have been a fun, I don't want to say acting challenge, but an acting assignment, to get outside of your normal character.
I think this episode, a real high point for this episode is the acting in it. Even Dwight Schultz. I think the voice was ridiculous, but it worked for the character.
Sure. Yeah.
It fit with his look. He did a good. That's not the Dwight Schultz that you see in everything else he's in.
Right.
That was a very different
and
version.
he wasn't overly crazy either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was literally thinking like in terms of Move Along Home and Fear and Voyage, the ones where you have like kind of that crazy person running the show, and I'm like, he might be the best and most believable of all of them. Like it was good, and it went so like the acting, and then Michael Shanks as Danny. Like I said it during the episode, but the way Shanks changed his face and the way his shoulders kind of hung and his voice, like he became young Danny.
I would venture a guess, Jeff, if we were to go back to episode 1 and we were to say, okay, rank these 4 actors, the main actors, on acting ability. You'd probably go Richard Dean Anderson. You'd probably shuffle Amanda Tapping and Chris Judge. And then you'd put Michael Shanks, because he's the new guy. He's young. He doesn't have as much as experience, and he just kind of feels like he's just a guy. And then you're like, no, dude can actually act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm sorry, Jeff. I just have to. So you saw the dog. I brought the dog up here a minute ago. I just want to acknowledge the sounds in the background right now that unfortunately I just cannot stop. The dogs are playing and they're roughhousing and they're in a spot. Like I can't stop this. It would be detrimental to everything. So I apologize to folks who hear that in the background. It is what it is, folks. I got the dogs in here and I can't leave them in the other parts of the house. So
one of the foundational rules of the For the First Time franchise is family comes first. One of the reasons it took us a while to record some of these episodes, family kept coming first. Those dogs, part of your family, they come first.
Yeah. So they're fine. They're over there. I just, I can't be in the studio or whatever. So you know what I'm not doing is I'm not doing the thing where I'm pretending like it's not happening. I'm going to acknowledge it. It's there. It's happening. And now we can move on.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
And if you're watching the video, you got to see an adorably cute little 16-week-old puppy who is huge.
Who's getting so big.
She's getting so big.
So this wasn't a terrible episode. It's had a lot of really high points. I think even with the disappointing part at the end, the construction of the episode was done really, really well. Mechanically, it was good. It was entertaining, all this stuff. It's just that again, this is the second week in a row where an episode ended and the bottom just fell out for me. It fell out hard in this one because I think this had so much potential.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you think on chevrons. So what are the sci-fi messages you got?
Well, for the record of whatever it is, I would never classify this as a favorite episode of mine. This is an episode, this is a laundry episode for me. It comes on, I'm folding laundry. It's a great episode to watch laundry, get up and go to the bathroom. I don't have to pause it. If I'm channel surfing, I come across this episode. I may go see what's on other channels just to check it out. But if I don't find anything else I'd rather watch, I'm happy to come back and watch this episode. But it's not like, oh, we're watching this episode. You know what I mean? That's my own personal thing. I do want to call this out, Jeff, something we learned in this episode that you didn't mention. We now established Sam has some lingering effects of the Jolinar situation.
Yes.
She has some lingering effects there. So
in fact, just on that really quick, I made a note early on that, okay, so we're in O'Neill's memory, we're in Daniel's memory. Why aren't we in Tilk or Sam's? And then they answered the question, because the Gould. They can't, like, it blocks the outgoing of any like mental energy or something.
Yeah. Which goes to one of the things I really do love about Stargate is that while nearly every episode is very self-contained, the episode is very self-referential. And what happens this week actually impacts what happens going forward. It may not impact next week. The Jolinar thing in episode 2 had zero impact on the prisoners episode in episode 3, right?
And a little impact here in episode 4. Very
little impact here in episode 4, but it's there. Like, it happened. You know what I mean? So, and we'll see where that goes from here on out. So I did just want to point that out. I had no crying out louds, no indeeds, no Daniel death scenes, and no Martin Wood cameo. He's not doing the cameos yet.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I did happen to look it up just because I was curious, and he just hasn't started doing the cameos yet. So.
So he wasn't in last week's either, or the week before.
Yeah, he just hasn't started doing them yet. All right, chevrons. Jeff, I just want to say we go through this exercise. We give it a ranking. We give it a certain number, assign certain numbers of chevrons and stuff. That's a fairly arbitrary number, and it is very much a moving target. It is not an objective, like, here are these criterias, and so here's how much it gets. Like, it's not that. As evidenced by the fact I changed a prior week's episode chevrons last week.
To justify last week's chevron.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm not changing anybody else's chevrons, but I am looking at this one. And you know what, Jeff? This episode did not have a very, what we would typically call the Star Trek message. Sci-fi message for sure. It doesn't have the Star Trek message, but you know what message it did have? It had the Babylon 5 message.
In a big way. In a very Babylon 5 way.
The core of Babylon 5, which, Jeff, you and I just saw this 6 weeks ago. Now it's been that quick, right? Like, turns around, oh, here it is. We refuse to play the game. We're just going to refuse to play it. This literally, a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen Babylon 5.
Skip ahead if you're not there yet.
Yeah. Just go forward. In fact, skip ahead to the end of this episode, because this is what I'm talking about for the rest of this episode. Here is your warning. I am talking about major spoilers for Babylon 5. You guys ready? Okay, here we go. This is the entire thing of the Shadow War. This was the conclusion of the Shadow War. Sheridan's sitting there going, we're not going to play a part in your game anymore. We're not going to choose anymore. We're not going to go against each other. If me and them person are going to fight, then we're going to have a fight, but that's because we are having a fight, not because you tell us to have a fight. We're not going to be manipulated by you anymore. And I even said back when we covered that episode, Jeff, like, what if we did that today?
Right.
What if we said that to our political parties? Right. We're not going to participate with your shenanigans anymore. We're not going to go in. And we got a lot of emails. We got a lot of comments and stuff back of like, yeah, but in the real world case, if you don't actually participate, then the bad guys always win because they're just going to stay in power. I want to just clarify. I wasn't talking about not voting and not participating and not on that level. What I really meant, and what I really was saying was, I'm not going to be pitted against my fellow countrymen because this political party over here tells me that everybody that's in that political party is awful and is trying to take over my world. You know, I'm not going to be pitted against my fellow human simply because of what side of the country's border they were born on. You know, I'm not going to be pitted against my fellow human simply because of what they believe or don't believe. I'm not going to be pitted against my fellow human simply because of the color of their skin, of their gender, of whom they choose to love, because somebody tells me that I should. I'm not going to be pitted against. I'm not going to participate in that anymore. I'm just not participating. I'm not getting into that craziness with you anymore. And why? Because as we see here, it is to the advantage of those who are in control to keep people under their control. It was to the gamekeeper's advantage to keep everyone under control. Now, Jack gave him a little bit of a not altruistic idea. He's like, if they learn the truth, then you lose control. In order to keep them under control, you have to hide the truth from them. In this case, you can't tell them that the world is fixed out there because they now have to stay in this little world.
It's a real bounce back from last week of you can control people with fear or with hope. And the keeper had been controlling with fear. Jack came in with hope.
Yeah, exactly. He said this. Jack says at this point, you know, this guy wants to stop you from hearing the truth. And he said, I want to stop you from poisoning their mind. That is a mirror to society. That is the refrain that people, no, listen, you want to stop people from learning what's actually going on. No. We just want to stop you from poisoning their mind. We want to stop you from poisoning the young children's minds with whatever's written in this book over here. So we're going to ban these books. We're going to cancel all of these things over here because we're scared that you, they're not going to say it, but we're scared you're going to hear the truth. No, we're not scared. We just don't want to poison young people's minds.
Got to protect them.
Got to protect them. Yeah, we gotta protect them. That being said, when you actually got down to the gamekeeper and he just kind of started talking normally there at the end, turns out, you know what the really neat thing is? And I think this is true for all these people I've just been railing against. I think this is true for most of them, maybe even just a lot of them. Maybe I'll roll it back to just a lot. Their intentions are actually good intentions. You know, like I do want to protect the children and I don't want them to go off. I have really, really good intentions for why we're doing this. I want what's best for here, but the way I'm going about it is coming out very, very badly and is actually injuring.
Or I'm defining best based on my value belief instead of something there. So, you know, I don't want you to read this book because I believe it's bad. So I'm going to protect you based on my value set. And like here at the Keeper, you can't go because I want to maintain the beauty of this world. And so my belief is the thing that I'm going to have to protect you from.
So and this, by the way, this was the same thing with the Shadows and the Vorlons in Babylon 5. Both the Shadows and the Vorlons, as we've come to learn, had altruistic intentions. Their intentions were to help the universe. If we take everybody at their word, and I think we are, their intentions were to help the younger races grow and evolve. True?
Yeah.
That's what they wanted to do, was to help the younger. Do what now?
Best intent.
Best intent. Help the younger races grow and evolve. And they had two different ways of going about it. One was really good. One was really bad. Wait, was it really good? I mean, the Vorlons were kind of cool until they went crazy. And then you have to sit back and go, actually, was their way the right way this whole time anyway?
They were kind of crazy the whole time, actually.
Were they?
Yeah.
But of the two, one started war, death, and famine and all this sort of stuff and turned to survival of the fittest. The other went through literature, art, culture, and these things which we tend to hold up in really high values. Like, so what is it? Here's where I want to come down to. And I thought this was actually really fascinating when I sat down to understand what was happening. In the end, the people the gamekeeper was trying to keep under control, they need what the right thing was, and this is me projecting my morality on top of it, was to know the truth. Yes, they were going to come out of their cells, their hibernation. It was best for them to know the truth and not be forced to stay in there, because at that point they're slaves, they're captives, right? And that's bad. To allow them to come out and now interact in this world that this guy, whether he has done it over thousands of years, Jeff, or his family has done it and he's just in this lineage of people who've done it for so long. Like it could go either way. I don't think it really matters. He is clearly protective of the world. He has built these things up. And there is these are the people that blew this world up and effed it up the first time. And if we let them out, they're going to do it again.
They're going to. Not they might, but they are going to.
They're going to. And you know what? And the possibility that they might do it again is very real. It is very real that they might do it. The possibility of what they might do, and I think this is what the show is kind of getting at, the possibility that they might mess it up again is not equal to keeping them prisoner and holding them captive. The whole thing earlier, Jeff, about Jack and his trauma and going back and revisiting stuff, and Daniel and his thing, this episode wasn't about trauma. That was a plot device to get us to these people need new stories because they're going crazy. We can't, and this whole thing about needing new stories to go crazy was about keeping them under control, because this episode is about keeping people under control. And what happens when you reveal the truth to people? That's what this episode's really about. It's not about that other stuff. So when I go back and I watch this episode and I see all those things, by the way, Daniel and his parents, those scenes get me every time.
That's horrible.
They get me every time. And they're some of my favorite scenes in the entire series. Like when I think back on the series, Daniel and his parents always comes up in my head. Yeah. I almost never remember Jack and his military buddies. Daniel and his friends come up in my head. I don't even necessarily remember what episode it's from. So now I might. But that was a plot point to get us to where we needed to be. So when I watch it, I don't think of this as an episode about trauma. I know that it's actually about this, and you will too from now on when you're watching it again.
It makes me think of the end in a little bit of a different light now. So I was so mad, right? Just like he turned into this little piddly, oh, don't touch the flowers. Don't.
Yeah.
But he's controlled them.
Yeah.
Forever. Now they're out in the open and he's grasping for literally anything he can still control. And at this point, it's don't pick the flowers.
Don't pick the flowers. Yeah.
It really is that he has a hunger now for control because he just lost it.
But it's not even control because he wants to protect I was right. They're messing it up. They're messing it up. Don't pick because he's worked so hard on those things. Like, he was an artist. He put that there on purpose, and they're just coming in and just, you know what it is? It's like after I've cleaned the house and then my kids come home. You know,
the difference is I've seen you clean the house. I know that happens. I didn't see Keeper do anything. I don't know that he did anything.
That's fair.
You assume that he did that.
Jeff, I respect this episode. It's still a laundry episode to me, but I have this is one of those episodes, watching it for this purpose gives me a much higher respect for this episode now. And I think it's actually a much more beautiful episode. It's a much more meaningful episode. And my gosh, does this send me right back to that Into the Fire? And those, I could just hear Bruce Boxleitner in my head. We're not going to participate in it anymore.
You can hear this.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, Jeff, to me, again, this is that arbitrary number. This is, so we rate this on 0 to 5 chevrons. 2.5 is right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
This is over halfway, but I don't think it's like slamming all over the place. I'm going to go with 3.5 chevrons, I'm going to say.
Okay.
I do fractional chevrons these days. I'm going to go 3.5 chevrons. So maybe 3.5. That's somewhere in there.
Ish.
Yeah. My ratings are, by the way, Jeff, can I just say something real quick? I know I have talked a lot about people who listen to our show and our comments and how they interact back with us when we don't understand for the first time. All right. I want you guys to understand, please look at me here, Patreon and YouTube, and listen to the dulcet tones of my voice. Those of you on the audio podcast, I am 99% joking around and messing around with folks. Jeff, you know me pretty well now.
Yeah.
I don't mean any harm by what I'm saying. I know sometimes people are like, well, you shouldn't be making fun of me. Here's the truth. Because you guys have those sorts of reactions. Like, you understand, Jeff and I, we watch the episode, we record the episode, you guys hear that. When you guys begin to respond, that allows Jeff and I then to come back and go, actually, we didn't think about that. Oh, we missed that. Oh, I guess it actually is. I guess maybe it really wasn't that bad that Arthur wasn't the real guy that came through. Although I still think that episode was awful. But that's to bring up that episode.
But as an example.
But as an example, maybe him coming back really wasn't the best idea. Although I think it might have been still kind of cool. But whatever, like I just want to say, please don't take offense. I'm mostly messing around. It's out of love. It's truly out of love.
I also imagine, though, that, and we've talked about this a little bit, even on the show,
Yes.
but you probably have a new level of empathy and understanding for them because now you're experiencing that with me. Like just now, you're like, dude, how can you not understand this thing? And it's like, well, because I just watched it. It's
well, but I can't understand it because I'm in your shoes with Babylon 5 right now.
Yeah.
Like I experienced it. You know where I really experienced it was with Matt when I was doing Beam Me Up. I was like, Matt, how do you not know that Duet's like one of the best episodes ever, man? You know, like what are you saying? And then like you and I get into Babylon 5, I'm like, yeah, I don't get it. It's whatever, but maybe I'll enjoy it on a second up. And now I'm on this side of it, going, oh, I get exactly where you are. So I'm not gonna mess with you too much, but you're wrong. And this is actually a pretty deep episode and has nothing to do with that thing you were just mad about. So.
Yeah. I think it's a good rating. I have the duty though to rank this thing.
Yeah. Can I just point out, you said the word duty. Go ahead.
I do that sometimes.
You said doo-doo. I love you for that, Jeff.
We're still 13. Oh man. Okay. So ranking this thing, I'm just going to tell you that my thought process on this was, this was my number 4 episode for this. I was so upset at what happened.
Yeah.
Then as I was talking through it a little bit, and I had to remind myself, it was like the last 4 minutes of the episode that really upset me. With Prisoners, it was basically the entire last act that upset me, where it's just like, what, how is this even happening? So then I was like, okay, maybe it'll be the number 3. Maybe. And then you added that context that we just talked about to the end of the episode, where he's either trying to control the people or the environment or both or a little bit of everything, which is kind of what the episode is all about, which what that did for me is firmly entrench the Gamekeeper as our new number 3 episode, keeping Prisoners in the low number 4 spot.
All right, Jeff. Well, that is going to do it for us then with the Gamekeeper. And we'll bid Dwight Schultz a fond farewell.
A farewell, yeah.
Yes. Jeff, next time, the name of the episode we were watching is, this one's going to give it away. It's going to absolutely give it away. This will be the easiest prediction you've ever had in your life. The name of the episode is Need.
Need?
Go ahead, Jeff. Take a stab at it.
So I want to clarify. I worked as a baker for quite a while. This is Need without a K.
Okay. Does not begin with K. No, this is Need.
Because that would be a weird episode.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. This is going to be a drug episode. This is, I have a need. I have a need. But what's going to bring the drug? What's going to make it? Is it going to be? No. I always put Daniel, like in when I think of these, I always think of Daniel in the rough spot. And I was like, oh, Daniel's going to do a thing and he's going to get hooked on drugs. And then it's going to be a whole thing about, oh my gosh, how do we help Daniel and do stuff? I don't think that's fair. I think we are going to start opening the door to Apophyses in the past. We're going to start opening the door on a new system lord, because I learned what those are. This system lord, though, doesn't rely on just Jaffa for their army. They're building a group of super soldiers that are hooked on a drug, say a white drug that's hooked up to a thing that they have to have all the time. Basically, it's going to be a system lord that has taken one of these the races of a race of man out there, turned him into Jem Hadar and hooked him on Ketracel White. So they're going to have that need for their drug. And the battle's not just going to be like a physical pew, pew, pew battle, but also a battle of how do we satiate and get rid of that need that they have.
All right. You're a good guesser, Jeff.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, we're going to see right here next time on Stargate SG1 for the first time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And yeah, Jeff, we really appreciate our folks out there.
So much.
We really, really do. I know we say it every episode, but it's because we truly mean it. We love having you guys along for the ride. We love getting to know you guys through comments, through Discord on Patreon, the folks on Patreon, through Twitter or X or whatever.
We have legit friends that we have made through this thing. Like people, people I've traveled to go visit and have lunch with and stuff. And it's so cool. And
yeah.
You're amazing. Awesome. All of you are amazing.
You guys are so cool. So thank you guys so much. While you're here, please, if we don't know you, introduce yourself, contact us, drop a comment down below, shoot us an email, hit us up on social medias, or one thing you can do, Leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcast. If you're over on YouTube, please make sure you like the video, subscribe, share the channel with your friends. And the biggest thing you can do, as I say, is share this podcast with a friend who loves Stargate SG1, or maybe somebody who, like my friend Jeff over there, needs to get into the gate for the first time. So with that, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back for Need next week. And until then...
Hey.
Oh, so close.
You know me, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
And you know, like you know that the only thing I would ever want is the best for you, right?
Yeah.
So I got to ask, and I mean, this isn't me being a smart ass or anything, but I mean, seriously, man, what are you? Cracked?
For crying out loud.